Hello everyone, dear friends. You are on the channel China in the Smart Home. Today I will show one really useful thing. This is a dcdc buck boost DC voltage converter. This is a small board that can both raise and lower the voltage, while showing parameters on a large display and allowing you to separately set the output voltage and the current limit. That is, it's easy to make a mini laboratory power supply out of it, a universal charger for non-standard batteries, or power for different gadgets from a battery, including from 12 volts, if you stay within its power. Let's get to know this board in detail, go through the controls and capabilities, and then we will definitely conduct load tests and I will show several clear examples of how it can be used in everyday life and in DIY projects. By specifications, this is a dcdc buck boost module with LCD, input 5 and 5 volts up to 30 volts, output adjustable from 0.5 to 30 volts. The output current is also adjustable within 0 to 4 amps, but in terms of power it is reasonable to unstable 35 watts for long-term use, and up to 50 watts, but only with good cooling. The display shows input or output voltage, as well as current and power. The declared indication step is 0.05 volts by voltage and 0.005 amps by current. Protections include input reverse polarity, short circuit protection, low input voltage, and power filtering to reduce ripple. The board comes in a small anti-static bag, but honestly, I couldn't wait to at least minimally touch it even before the review, so I immediately opened the packaging. Inside, besides the board itself, there is a small cooling radiator. It's desirable to stick it on, especially since it already has double-sided tape, and there are also 4 plastic feet included. You can simply place the module on the table, mount it in a case, or install it on top of another board. For DIY, this is a really convenient little thing. The dimensions are also neat. The board size is 48 by 66 mm, height about 22 mm. It fits into a small case or a homemade mini lab without problems. The layout is logical. On the left the terminal block is the input, plus and minus are labeled, on the right the output to the load, polarity is also marked, and if you want the most reliable connection, the wires can not only be clamped in the terminals, but also soldered. Contact pads are provided for this. On the power part you can see that they didn't try to save on hardware. An inductor with normal winding and wire thickness, next to it 2 MOSFET switches marked D184, an N-channel MOSFET, but already for 40 volts, with current around 50 amps. And NCE 6075K, this is an N-channel MOSFET for 60 volts and up to 75 amps, which work in the boost and buck circuits. Then there are 2 Schottky diodes SS56, these are classic power Schottkys for 5 amps and 60 volts, with a declared pulse current up to 150 amps. On the right there are 2 trimmer resistors CC and CV. One is responsible for the current limit, the second for voltage adjustment. Under them there are 2 buttons in out and on off. The first switches what exactly to show on the display, and the second turns the output on or off. This is convenient if you don't want to pull the power from the socket every time, while the display itself remains active, and there will be 0 at the output. There is also an indicator LED. Green is on when the output is enabled, and turns off when it is disabled. On the back side most chips have no markings, but one large one is labeled Northern Territory 1621B. This is the LCD display controller. By the principle of operation everything is classic for a switching converter. The controller controls the switches, accumulating energy in the inductor and then transferring it to the output circuit through diodes and capacitors. And due to adjustment of the switching mode the board can both raise and lower voltage, holding the set value and limiting current according to the setting. Let's test it. For the test I will connect a laptop power supply to it. It is 20 volts and 4 and 5 amps. We check with a tester the voltage of the power supply. By the way, I recommend buying such probes for the tester. I will leave the link to the tester and the probes, and also to the DC-DC converter, in the description under the video. What I liked about these probes is that they have a very flexible silicone wire, since the original ones were stiffer, and second, the tips of these probes are very thin, which allows you to do diagnostics even of CMD elements, very convenient. Now with a thin screwdriver we turn the voltage regulator. The maximum voltage was 31.5 volts. This is shown to us by the display on the converter. The input voltage is 20 volts. We check with the tester. the data matches, higher by 1/10 of a volt. That is, the accuracy is very good. Now I set the minimum voltage, it was 0.52 volts. We check with the tester, we also see that it matches. The input voltage remains unchanged. Let's conduct a test. For this I will use a car lamp for 12 volts with a maximum power of 55 watts. Let's check whether our converter will pull the declared 50 watts of power. I set the voltage to 12 volts and will slowly turn the current regulator. Here we see 2.8 amps, I increase the current. That's it. The maximum current was 3.9 amps, voltage 11.96. We get 47 watts of power. Overall it matches the characteristics and them. Now let's check how the current protection works. Now I set 2.24 amps and the voltage is 12 volts at the output and 20 at the input. I change the load on our light bulb. As you can see yourself, the bulb was consuming 4 amps, or rather 3 point something, close to 4. But now the bulb has hit the current limit. The current does not exceed the set threshold of 2.23 amps, but the voltage sagged, but that is natural. Now I will take an input voltage of 24 volts. I did not change the threshold at the output of 12 volts and 2.3 amps. I connect the bulb. And we see the same story, we hit the current limit. The voltage sagged. That is, the device handles limits both by voltage and by current. The only minus is that you can set the current only under load, initially we cannot set it. And now one more interesting test, exactly for what I bought this converter. Let's imagine that we have a device that always needs to be connected to an exact voltage, for example 12 or 20 volts. And the output voltage should not depend on the fact that the voltage connected to the converter can change to a larger or smaller degree. For example, some dcdc step-down or step-up modules can just change the output voltage if the input voltage changes. On the example of this step-up converter I ran into the fact that I need 12 and 6 volts, and when the voltage connected to this module changes, the output voltage also began to change, and that is not acceptable for me. Let's conduct a test with this converter. I will not limit the current, but I will set the voltage to 12 volts. Now we try to connect 5 volts input to the converter from this power bank. As we see, at the input 5 volts, and at the output 12 volts, that is, the module is now working in boost mode. Let's connect to it a battery with a voltage of 24 volts. Also at the output 12 volts, the converter works in buck mode. We try to connect a discharged battery 9 volts, at the output still 12 volts. Laptop power supply 20 volts, at the output 12 volts. And just a battery with a voltage of 12 and 4, and at the output 12 volts. That is, depending on whether the connected voltage is higher than the set one or lower, at the output of the module we always get the set value for our device or even for charging batteries or various battery packs. But here it is worth considering the heating moment. That is, if you think to use it with large currents more than 2 amps, then I would think about replacing this radiator with another one. For example, I found such a radiator, it is about 4 times larger in area than the one that came with the kit, and I will install it. It is also worth taking into account from what input voltage you will step up or step down to the output. The higher the voltage delta, the more heating there will be. But if the connected device works with small currents, as usually happens, then the heating in general is within. I will show a practical example from life. To power the router when there is no electricity, I use such a 3S pack of 21 18650 cells. I showed the process itself in a separate video. Initially that was simple. I took a regular dcdc module and connected a 12-volt power supply to it, and at the output I set 12 and 6 volts. This is the maximum voltage for my Li-ion pack. But over time, when outages happen for 20 hours a day, I ran into a problem. I simply don't have time to charge my homemade battery. At the same time, I have lighting from a powerful car battery. It is connected to an equally powerful charger and in general manages to the lost capacity in a few hours. Then I got the idea to make friends between these two batteries so that one helps the other. But here a nuance appears. When there is electricity, the large battery begins to charge, and the voltage of the charger is about 14 and 4 volts, and for my pack, where the maximum voltage must be 12 and 6, that is already too much. And the second point, if you use a regular step-down dcdc module, then when the voltage on the large battery drops below 12 volts, the output voltage starts to fall as well, and this is also unacceptable for me. That's why I decided to use this universal converter. I set 12 and 6 volts at the output on it and connect it to a battery that is now charging with a voltage of 13 and 4 volts, and at the output it still remains the set voltage 12 and 6. Here, for example, the electricity was turned off, the voltage on the battery became 12 and 8 volts, at the output of the converter it is still 12 and 6. Or the battery is already discharging and shows 9 volts, and at the output of our converter again 12 and 6. And this means that the support or charging of Li-ion batteries continues, and even when there will no longer be lighting and everything will be in darkness, the internet will still remain for me for at least a day. One more example, how to make a universal power supply to charge a laptop in a car. Let's imagine that we are in a car and we don't have a laptop charger at hand. I set the voltage to 19 volts. Take a 12-volt battery and connect a regular laptop to the converter. The battery charging started, overall everything is great. As a result, the module left a pleasant impression as a universal, working tool for DIY projects. It is really convenient because it can both raise and lower voltage while steadily holding the set value even when the input power changes noticeably, and this is exactly what is often lacking in simple dc-dc modules. I like that there is normal indication in it, judging by the check with a multimeter, shows quite accurately, plus separate adjustment of voltage and current limit makes it suitable not only for powering devices, but also for scenarios where it is important not to overdo it with current. By power you need to remember physics, about 35 watts it can pull calmly, and everything closer to 50 watts is already a story about good heat dissipation, a radiator and preferably airflow, because it will heat up. But if you use it within reasonable limits, then you get a very universal board. You can make a mini-lab supply, you can power different devices from a 12-volt battery, you can stabilize power for a router and similar things, and in my practical example it turned out to be a key element, because it allowed to make friends between a car battery and my 3S pack and not depend on whether it is 14 and 4 volts on charge now or already 9 or 12 volts on discharge. In general, it's not a thing for a showcase, but for work, if you need one module, for all cases, that can hold a set voltage with a floating input, this option definitely is worth attention. You will find all links to the products in the description under the video. Also there is a link to a group in Telegram, where you will find not only for the smart home system, but also coupons, promotions and other communication and answers to questions. There are also links to the smart home forum, where all topics are divided into sections for more convenient communication and searching for information. There are also links to social networks Facebook and X. Please, do not forget to like if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss other interesting videos about smart and not so smart home systems. All the best to everyone, peaceful sky and kindness. Bye bye.